Hi guys. So today I'll be making a childhood favorite of mine. I'll be making some biryani. I absolutely love biryani. Growing up, my mom used to make it all the time, and then she stopped, and I actually understand why. It's quite a process-orientated recipe, and everything has to be done individually, but the end result is so worth all the effort. So here we go. Let's try it out.
So these are the spices that we'll be using for our biryani. The combination of spices is very key to the outcome of your biryani. So please make sure that you get the essentials. Don't try and wing it with whatever masala you have in your pantry. If you have them all, awesome. But cinnamon, masala, biryani mix, cumin, cardamoms and cinnamon, bay leaves are your go-to essentials. So these are all the spices that I have. I get my spices from Food Lovers. But yeah, I mean, wherever you can get your spices, do that. And then that's my plain yogurt, onions, potatoes. We're gonna have. I'm gonna make my biryani with chicken, but obviously you can use your meat of choice. So now I'm mixing my spices with my plain yogurt. In terms of quantities, you can just play around depending on how much meat you're making. So I'm using 10 pieces of chicken. So I'll be using 250 milliliters of plain yogurt. But obviously you can play around with it depending on how much meat you're making. But also you don't need excessive quantities of the yogurt because the meat doesn't have to drown in the yogurt. It's just to ensure that it's well coated. So that's my yogurt. I'm using about 2 teaspoons of each spice across the board and just throw in about a spoon of cardamoms. I've taken 2 long cinnamons, cut them in half, so I've got 4 cinnamon sticks and bay leaves. So that's what my yogurt looks like once I've mixed up all my spices. And then I'm going to add my chicken. So I did season my chicken with salt before I added my yogurt mix, and then we allow that to sit in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours. If you have the whole day, even better. We'll be using the onions in 2 different ways. So one onion should be finely chopped, and then the second onion should be sliced into onion rings, and we'll cook that at different times in different ways. Okay, so I've fried my onion rings until they're nice and golden brown, and we'll set those aside for later. So I steamed my potatoes for about 7 minutes before cutting them into wedges, and then we're just going to fry them and just keep turning them from side to side until they're nice and golden brown, and then we're also going to set those aside for later. So I'm sure by now you've noticed that this recipe is very step orientated. So while your chicken or your meat is in the fridge marinating, you'll be doing all these things separately to combine later. So I've boiled my basmati rice and my lentils separately, and then I've combined them. Okay guys, now for the fun part. We start cooking. A spoon of garlic and a spoon of freshly grated ginger. So I've added my chopped onions and the aroma of the garlic and ginger. Oh guys, there's no better combo. Then I'm gonna throw in my masala spice, my biryani masala spice. I've also used a bit of salt as well to season. Then I'm gonna add my chicken and yogurt mix, and we're just going to keep stirring. So it's important to monitor this quite well. Add a little bit of water when necessary, so that it doesn't stick to the pot, because the yogurt will make it a bit more prone to sticking, so you need to monitor it quite well. So my chicken has been cooking for about 10-15 minutes now. The aroma is amazing. So guys, at this point your neighbors are knocking, right? Like, the smell is insane. Then I'm going to add a can of tomatoes. You can also use fresh tomatoes, but if you're using fresh tomatoes, please blend them first. As a standard, I use canned tomatoes. I always ensure that I have canned tomatoes in my pantry because I think the texture is amazing and they always come with great juices. So we'll just mix well. I've also added a sprinkle of sugar because tomatoes do tend to be a little bit sour. So we'll just let that cook. I'm also checking for salt. I've just checked my salt and it's good, but this is something that you'll continue to do as you're cooking to ensure that the salt levels are to your palate and total cooking time for your chicken to be well cooked is about an hour. So I'm gonna layer half my rice, half my onion rings, and half my potato wedges, then put my chicken on top, and then I'm gonna repeat the process with the rest of the ingredients: rice, wedges, and onions again, and then I'm gonna sprinkle some freshly chopped coriander and parsley, and we're good to eat. And there you have it, guys. Biryani ready to serve. We had ours with green salad, and it goes really well with a dollop of plain yogurt. Enjoy!